And at this shoot-around this morning, he made sure that was instilled in them from jump.
Well, this is a team that Wes Moore is not used to coaching, right, with the inconsistencies. The teams that he has had in the past, he knew exactly what he was going to get night in and night out. Now, they still have pieces who are capable of that. They've just got to find the combinations that bring it out in one another.
Deacs start off with the ball. Wolfpack entering tonight's matchup with an 8-game win streak against Wake Forest, as Diamond Johnson has the steal at the wing. So not a right way that you want to start the game with a turnover right away. At the rim, an aggressive look by Boyd, but nothing there.
And I think Jada Boyd has to get going for this team. You know, she's a player who can be a consistent double-figure scorer, a dominant rebounder inside, but has been a little consistent during this erratic time for the Wolfpack.
See the starting five for Wake. Not much has changed there. Coach is continuing to say what she wants out of this group, though. More consistency with sharing the basketball. They have 15 or more assists in 6 games. She wants to continue to build on that. They're still looking to get on the board. See a lot of action right away from NC State, trying to get their post players involved. That one, you can see Hobby gets fouled. So we highlighted on one side, Wes Moore. This is Coach Megan Jebbia in her first season at Wake Forest. And Wake last year only won 4 ACC games. They are now at 5 and in that 10th spot, looking for that 9th spot to get into the ACC tournament. Those teams get the first round bye, and she said that's been the conversation within this group, how we can make sure that we are that upset team for everyone else.
Well, this is a team in the Deacs that is very good at home, have struggled to get wins on the road, but have been able to take care of home court, and that's that next step for this group, to be able to find ways to win on the road and to be able to get a signature win. They certainly have an opportunity here tonight.
I would say they have the hot hand. Taking down Louisville, a big win for them at Clemson in overtime, as that first ball goes down and gives Wake Forest a 2-point lead.
Well, Elise Williams has the ability to stretch the defense, and Coach Jebbia said she's a fearless player and knocks down a big shot.
You look across the board and you see all the threes that have gone down for Jules Spear. Well, Elise Williams is right behind her. She's already knocked down 31. Diamond Johnson tried to see if she can get inside the paint, dishes it off. Nothing there. Another player, Jakia Brown-Turner, that's trying to get into a rhythm. A lot is on her shoulders. So many different injuries that NC State was dealing with at the beginning of the season. They had a couple of players, and even with Diamond Johnson being out along with Jada Boyd with an ankle injury. So a lot of different rotations for them, but Jakia Brown-Turner, one of those players that has to be consistent for them.
Look, things change when you go from being the 4th person on the scouting report to the 1st or 2nd. And that's happened for Jakia Brown-Turner, for Jada Boyd. You know, this is a program that's had a lot of prolific scorers. And now she's at the top of the scouting report. Learning how to adjust to that has been a challenge.
Jada Boyd tried to launch one from long distance. She has hit 6 on the season. Couldn't connect there. Samiel at the top of the key. She's guarded by Jada Boyd. Samiel once again, short shot clock. They have 8 to work with. They find Amira Hines, and no good underneath.
And NC State thus far making a concerted effort to get the ball into the paint. Post-entry passes, drive, and what a move by Hobby.
I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. The interior presence of Hobby as well as Jakia Brown-Turner, that's something that they're emphasizing in this game to start.
Well, Wes Moore talked to us about the fact that they don't have nearly as many quality shooters, at least from a percentage standpoint, as they are used to having. They've got to find a way to get some easy buckets.
That's their first field goal of the game as we're tied at 3. Samiel tried to find something over that left shoulder, couldn't. And that's great defense underneath. So back-to-back possessions for NC State.
Yeah, this is the second touch that Hobby's gotten, and just the quick fake with the shoulder and utilizing the baseline. You know, Camille Hobby is such a great story. A player who really stayed true to the process, played behind Elisa Cunane, and was patient, I would say, with that process. Took advantage when her opportunity presented itself, and now is reaping the benefits in this starting role.
Best streak of her career as far as the games that she's had 10 points in 12 games, 10 or more points. And so this is one of the players, as you mentioned, who is really taking it upon herself to be more aggressive in the paint, and her teammates are indeed finding her. Another long distance shot, no good. And at this point, Wake Forest doing a great job with just limiting them to the one shot. Crossover between Jewel Spear off the glass. Nice kiss.
Love that, utilizing the glass by Jewel Spear. So many great scores, miss opportunities when they don't use that angle. And Spear, textbook fundamental. I guess when you're in the house of the big fundamental, that makes sense, right?
Makes total sense. Nice play on that. Hobby once again can't connect on the rim there. And that rebound is brought in by Elise Williams. So just slowing the pace down a bit. That's another question of like what that is going to look like between the two teams.
Well, I think this is a Wake Forest team who does not want to get in an up-and-down battle with NC State. You know, NC State averages over 70 points a ball game. Wake only at 60. So quality possessions and making sure you take advantage of each possession is critical.
So another look on the inside. Almost got that one to go, but we'll see free throws on the other side for NC State when we come back from the break. So far, Wake Forest with a 2-point edge.
With the game
way, and the fans show up to honor the legacy of Kay Yao, and you know, of course, as an ambassador for not just women's basketball, but for women's sports.
Yep. Great for us as well that previous Sunday, because that was the big Monday matchup. Play for K game. As Alexandra Scruggs checks in for Sabiel. Going back to that game on Sunday, it was Georgia Tech Miami, but for us to even honor and acknowledge Tasha Butts with Georgia Tech was very special, and she had so many great things to say about what this fund has done for her, what the funding has done for just so many people across the board as far as underfunding of minorities and what that has done for research.
And the donations really going towards all types of cancers that affect women.
Jada Boyd short on the shot, great spin move, but Hobby, of course, cleaning it up, gets another 2. So Camille Hobby has 5 of the 7 Wolfpack points. We talked about who's going to step up on the interior. She's 2 for 3 on the inside.
I like the attention to detail offensively by the Wolfpack early in this ballgame. You can tell the game plan is to find ways to get paint touches. And right now, executing that game plan offensively.
2 on the shot clock. That had to be heaved in and out for Elise Williams. And Diamond Johnson at the top of the key for the Wolfpack. Diamond Johnson yet to get on the board, their leading scorer. Lined it up for a little bit for a long distance 3. She's going to pass it up.
I think that's okay because Diamond Johnson can get hot quickly, and it's important for NC State to have balanced scoring. So utilizing this opportunity to facilitate, to get others on the floor confidence, I think that Diamond Johnson can always get hers.
Absolutely. Winning 6th player of the year in the ACC as we have more substitutions. Madison Hayes checks in, usually in the starting lineup. Saniya Rivers got the nod for this game tonight. Another player, coach said one of the best defenders on the team as we have more stoppage of play. So just the stoppage was the reset of the shot clock back at 30. Saniya underneath finds Diamond Johnson. The length of Elise Williams at 5'9" over Diamond Johnson at 5'5". It'll be an interesting matchup to see how she can get her shot off.
Yeah, I like the adjustment that Coach Debbie is making. Putting that length, putting that athleticism on Diamond Johnson.
Moving the ball around well, but not able to connect on the 3. NC State shooting 20% from the field to this point, 2 for 10 from the field. Kaya Harrison sends it up. Nice look on the inside by Alexandria Scruggs, now on the board.
That's a really good take. Those elbow ISOs are really tough to guard. There's no help on the backside when the ball's in the middle of the floor. And no help right there as Saniya Rivers streaks to the rim.
Saniya Rivers, one of those players, so elusive. In her first year with NC State, it's been her first year at South Carolina. She said it was great that I was able to get that title as a freshman, but now being able to contribute to a team in her hometown, in a sense, and just finding ways to be that impact player right away. All right, well, ACC Unity Week tips off next Saturday. Here's our ACC Network basketball doubleheader. It is on the right side of the bubble. Just a game behind Clemson atop the ACC standings. They'll take on Virginia Tech at 5 Eastern. And Clemson is on the wrong side of the bubble. Even though they lead the conference, they'll square off against Louisville in our second game. That's just in and out by Olivia Samuel, averaging about 8 points per game. One of those players that's been up and down for the Deacs. Nice take for the baseline. Nothing there for Madison Hayes.
And that's what Megan Jebbia was talking to us about. Really, you want to have consistent 3 or 4 double-figure scores.
Jewel Spear lined it up for the 3, got her own rebound, couldn't connect at the rim. So Saniya Rivers surveying the land.
And it's a veteran group for Wake. So you would think the opportunity presents itself. But sometimes when you have a great player like Jewel Spear, everybody else gets caught watching, right? You get caught watching, you expect Jewel to just make something happen all the time. And this is a group that is experienced a little bit more winning than they have in the past, and upperclassmen that really need to step up in terms of production for this team to continue down the path and the upward momentum.
Absolutely, they have 4 starters returning, along with the ACC's leading scorer from last year in Jewel Spear. And you talked about that experience when Megan Jebbia was given the job. Jewel Spear said she knows how to win, and we need to win. And then even talking about this matchup, Coach Jebbia said, we're looking at an NC State team that understands what it is to win, so we're learning things from them in this game as well.
Yeah, it's a winning program. They've been here. You know, Wake is a team that certainly has learned how to win at home, and learning to win is a process. And that last matchup against Clemson, where they came back in the fourth quarter, they first forced overtime and were able to prevail in overtime. Those are growing moments for this program, and Megan Jebbia can use that to help elevate. And now you've got to go back-to-back against a winning program who's used to this, and not used to being in the situation that they're in right now, but used to being in pressure situations, in-game pressure situations.
I like that you brought up the pressure situations. Going back to that Clemson game, Coach Jebbia said this is one of those survive and advance games, and we're moving in the right direction. Talking about how we have to sacrifice ourselves for those 50-50 balls, and she saw that in her team. 2 on the shot clock. And that was just completely denied underneath. So NC State can hold on for the last shot of the quarter. Something of note, Olivia Samuel went to the bench. She has 2 fouls, so another player that we'll have to keep an eye out on for when she returns dealing with foul trouble early. Diamond Johnson puts it on the hardwood. Nothing off the glass. 4.2 left. A fumble around, and I'm sure Elise Williams is just going to hold that one. Doesn't want to take away from her average at this point. So far, we're looking at a good game, Steph. We're locked at 9 after the first break.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things
Buy it all.
Well, I think certainly when you look at what Wake Forest has done from a season ago to be able to position themselves for that first round bye, Syracuse, of course, Coach Jack doing an outstanding job, and they're leading Carolina right now. You know, and they're not showing up right here, but I think what Coach Mox is doing at Virginia has been really impressive as well.
Absolutely. They got off to their best start in a long time. Won 12 straight. Only won 5 games last season. So just a rebuild there as far as the culture. There was a foul on the floor. Saniya Rivers.
This is a good take. I like Becker's using her speed and athleticism to her advantage. You get River Baldwin out on the perimeter and take it right at her.
corner three, no good by Alyssa Andrews. Alyssa Andrews, one of those players that can let it fly from outside, is not one of those players that hesitates, but how about the second and third opportunities for Wake Forest?
And that's important. It's important when you're a team that struggles to score the basketball that you find ways to get multiple possessions, and Andrews able to capitalize.
Knocks down the one at the top of the key, gives them the 14-9 lead. Nice look on the inside, was first rejected, but actually Jewel Spear may come up with her first foul of the game.
What a play by Scruggs. That's two defensive possessions in a row that Scruggs has made really great plays on. River Baldwin just goes up, stays straight, elevates, and then commits the foul on Isaiah James the second time.
Alexandria Scruggs, one of those players that started the season coming off of the bench, as she has done in this game as well and throughout the season, but had back-to-back games in double figures. Coach compared her to the likes of Charles Barkley as far as being undersized at 5'10", trying to battle on the inside with the bigs at 6'4" and 6'5" in the league, but it's her heart that has really gotten her minutes.
And it's important to have somebody who you can rely on coming off the bench, not just for production, but for energy, for effort, for making hustle plays. Oh, great read. That's a great read by Jewel Spear. She had everybody thinking she was going off with a stagger and reads it perfectly. Look, learning the pace with which you have to set defenders up and come off of screens, that's a skill. That's a skill, and that was, the shot didn't go in, but that was really impressive action by Spear.
You were a shooter. I think you still have it to this day. But just understanding what you have to do without the ball is very important as well.
It is. You know, so many players want it to come easy. And you think about great players that are great scorers are constantly in motion. And it's not the same speed. It's change of speed. It's short bursts. It's setting your defender up. It's exploding out.
Jewel Spear has been struggling from distance in this game, 0 for 5. That was brought down by Williams. Couldn't connect, but once again, 3 looks at the rim for Wake Forest. They didn't convert there, but something that Coach Wes Moore was really disappointed in his team against Virginia Tech, the 18-plus rebounds that they had over them. They do connect there, so brings them within 1 in this ball game. Wake Forest had their largest lead just 2 possessions ago, so looking for a bucket as they have missed their last 4 possessions.
Yeah, and you're right, it's twofold, right? If you're NC State, you've got to come up with those defensive boards, and that's another great take by Becker. And if you're Wake, you can't afford to miss the bunnies. Margin for error is so small. When you get easy opportunities at the rim, you got to convert.
Right now, in that category, Wake Forest winning the O board 7-2.
And if I'm Wake, I'm going to continue to look at Becker at that elbow ISO. Right now, she's scored multiple times, back-to-back times, going right at River Baldwin.
And coming up next, the Nothing But Net crew will break down the night in the ACC with highlights and analysis of every women's game and look ahead at the best games on the schedule in the coming week. That's coverage you can only get one place right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. That's a fun crew. We'll be tossing it to them later. Kelsey Riggs back in the studio. It's always fun to see and hear their analysis of every game. So Nia Becker, you talked about her getting started. I think she just picked up her second foul. So he checks out of the ball game.
Oh, that pass was too late. James was open coming off of that stagger, and the pass was a second too late.
Camille Hobby didn't like her look after the first dribble. 5 to work with for the Wolfpack. Diamond Johnson in the middle with a nice teardrop.
She's so good at that. She's able to get into the paint. The float game is on point. And what's happening with Wake Forest matchups is they're utilizing length on Diamond Johnson, so she doesn't have a lot of space to get that shot off. So attacking, getting a score, drawing multiple defenders, finding open teammates, that's going to be the advantage.
And that was her first field goal of the ball game. Started off 0 for 4. 0 for 3 from distance as well. Jewel Spear gets it on the baseline. She's going at Diamond Johnson. Left hand, no good. Gets it back once again, trying to work her way on the perimeter. Baseline, rather. Elise Williams is just going to slow things down at the top of the key.
A terrific effort on the offensive glass by Wake Forest early in this ballgame.
Nice look to Demir Hines. That's passed back out, and that rebound is brought down by Jakia Brown-Turner. So you can see Camille Hobby just asking and demanding the ball on the inside. What does that do? Opens up a lane for JBT.
I love it when she's aggressive to the rim. She was primarily a three-point shooter for this ball club a year ago. She's got great athleticism, great length, and ability to get to the rim.
NC State on an 8-2 run. Now with their lead of 17-16. Jakia Brown-Turner once again with the ball in her hands. We asked to see if we're going to see more of an aggressive look from her. So far, she seems like she has more of a sense of urgency coming into this ball game. That's kicked off the top of the foot. As Boyd was trying to work to the bucket.
And Wolfpack aggressive to the rim the entire first half. JBT gets herself two. Wolfpack up one.
Steph is the only Power 5 conference basketball arena named for a black person. So that is a great story. It's obviously an amazing thing that we can be here and share that story as well. And for more Black History storytelling and coverage, stream the Black History Always collection on ESPN+. So NC State right now with a 3-point lead. They had a slow start, started off 3 for 18 from the field. Since then have been 4 for 5 from the field.
And they've stayed really disciplined on trying to get high percentage looks close to the rim. You know, it's easy to start the ball game like that and then fall into poor habits and take quick, easy shots and offense, but they are really forcing the defense to work.
Have the 2-point edge for points in the paint over Wake Forest, 10-8. Foul at the top of the key. That one's going to go against Jada Boyd. That's just her first personal foul and the first team foul. Yeah, the two players on the other side for Wake Forest with 2 fouls, and Elise Williams as well as Nia Becker. Diamond Johnson, just one of the best at the top of the key, picks that off, looking for a pick six, and gets it.
And she's one of the best at doing just that, getting her body in between the defender and the rim. You know, when you're small, you got to learn some of those tricks, and she is so good at utilizing her body to shield the defender.
Wake Forest had their largest lead of the ballgame in the first quarter. Now, as we're in the second, we're on to the 4-minute mark. Now, NC State with their largest lead.
Active hands, great anticipation, and look, she knows where the defender is. She gets her body into the defender and finishes.
12-2 run for the Wolfpack. You talked about them just finding more sense of urgency on the defensive end, winning in the department on points in the paint. The level of execution. Ashley Williams had the scouting report, their assistant coach. She said, we just have to see it's all about us. We can go in and look at Wake Forest, but first it starts with us. So far, executing. Alexandria Scruggs underneath has great footwork getting to her shot.
Absolutely, she really does, and she's good off the bounce. She utilizes her body. But getting back to that point about NC State, you know, it's not just about consistency in the game. It's about consistency in practice, consistency in preparation. And Westmore said, you know, this week has been a tough week, and I don't feel like we've prepared well. We have not had a sense of urgency in practice, attention to detail in the scouting report. And he said yesterday's practice was much better, but this is a group that has to understand the high level with which you have to prepare day in and day out.
I tell you what, if you go back and listen to that radio post-game interview that he had after Virginia Tech, he was very apologetic to the fans about their performance. He said, I put this roster together. I have to be better. I have to demand more. I knew that we had 2 bad practices coming into this one. We have to understand what we need to be in order to win in this conference, which is a battle every single night.
It's a battle every night. There's no clear-cut favorite, no one team that's going to dominate. So night in and night out, you have to bring your A game. And particularly disappointing at home against Virginia Tech on play for K.
Yep. So Jada Boyd got the nice look at the rim. I mean, you have just really mentioned how they've emphasized getting points in the paint. 7 of their last made field goals have come in that department.
And give this group credit for stepping up to the challenge that Westmore gave them. And we are going to stay disciplined to attack in the paint. We're going to get post touches. We're going to get attacks, sharing the basketball. Multiple players have gotten on the scoreboard.
Yep. 6 players right now on the scoreboard for the Wolfpack. 5 on the shot clock for Wake Forest. Scruggs tries to see if she can get it off the rim. No violation there. Wolfpack come out of the pack, sends it up, and that's intercepted. Demira Hines in the right place at the right time. Deacs trying to convert. Scoop shot underneath, nothing there for Elise Williams. One player that we haven't seen on the floor in quite some time is Saniya Rivers. An offensive foul, it's gonna be going against NC State. Jada Boyd picks up her 2nd personal foul.
And it's different for Saniya Rivers. She had started at times, but in place of Diamond Johnson, running the point guard. Now she's starting on the wing, a different position offensively. Utilizing her a little bit different to start the ball game. And sometimes when you've been coming off the bench and you get used to that, you understand you have to see what happens first. So it could be just a little bit out of rhythm for Saniya Rivers.
Talking to her before the ball game, she said, I just have to realize how to be poised. I have to put everyone in the right position. That's tougher said or done than said. So just understanding what that looks like for her.
And she's still a young player. Yep. She's still a young player. Did not get a lot of playing time at South Carolina. Has gotten a whole lot more here at NC State as Kaya Harrison gets 2. But she really had her breakout game against Iowa. Right? She had a breakout game. She was knocking down shots. She was attacking the rim. She's showing that she's a capable scorer. And then it comes back to now that consistency.
Her ceiling's so high. Hobby missed, tip to herself. Isaiah James has been all over the boards in this ball game. Can't get that to fall, but Wake Forest, they struggled for quite some time. They scored on the last possession. They went 5 minutes without a bucket.
And that's the challenge for this group. Finding ways to put the ball in the hole. Their defense has been able to keep them in ball games, but offensively have to find ways to put the ball in the bucket.
Talked about them being great at home. Beats 11-1 record. 20-game win streak. All right, well, we've seen some amazing fans across the ACC, and now we need your help this winter. ACC Network wants to experience each sport from your perspective. You snap a pic or take a video, tag it with hashtag #AllTheDevotion, and post it to your social. You just might see it on the ACC Network as Jewel Spear knocks that one down. So 6 points for Jewel Spear. Slow start for her. 3 for 13 from the field. Has yet to knock down a 3. Leading the league in that department. And Saniya Rivers back into the ball game. 8 seconds to work with. Sends it up to Jakia Brown-Turner. Nothing there. How about that rebound once again by Isaiah James? Can't get it to go down. So NC State goes into the half with a 1-point edge. And we'll have a drill as we are now underway in the second half. Going back to the defensive side, since Wake Forest is starting on that department. They've been pretty good. 11-1 record in that department. They're holding their opponents just 35% from the field and just 27% from the three-point line this season at home.
And that's the thing. They've been good enough on the defensive end of the floor as NC State's able to get out in transition. They've been good enough on the defensive end of the floor to give themselves opportunities. Of course, they've been really good at home, but even on the road, it's offensively being able to find some consistency. They're last in the league in scoring. We know Jewel Spear can fill it up. It's finding those consistent third, fourth scorers.
0-7 in ACC play on the road for Wake Forest. As right now, they're just trying to find their footing at home with 5 on the shot clock. A nice interior pass off the glass and a nice look for Demira Hines.
Really good execution. You could tell that the Deacs knew what they wanted to do when they came out of the locker room. Perfect execution, the inside touch by Hines.
That's her first field goal of the ball game. Of course, just 1 point behind. Nice look on the inside. You mentioned it just how this was going to go back and forth. You can see right there, Jada Boyd just welcoming the contact on the block. We've seen different styles from her throughout this season. I know she was dealing with the ankle injury, missed 4 games due to that, but just working her way back into a rhythm where she was that all ACC team and preseason pick.
Yeah, it's tough when you're working your way back from injury and really trying to find a way to get into rhythm. You know, when you have these types of injuries, you don't typically heal them until after the season, but you see the difference in her wins and losses numbers. I mean, averaging double figures, shooting it at a high clip in NC State's wins, averaging just a little over 5 points and really shooting it poorly in their losses. And this is a senior, this is an upperclassman, this is a player who's been a part of this program, who has had so much success, and the Wolfpack need more from her.
Going back 2 seasons ago, the ACC 6th Player of the Year. We already talked about Diamond Johnson getting it the following year. Hey, they have another opportunity to have a 6th Player of the Year, even in Saniya Rivers. She did get the nod for the starting lineup in this game, and that's just Wes Moore saying whoever is prepared to bring energy to this floor today or tonight is going to get that nod to be in the starting lineup, and it seems like he's found a little bit of that, or they've received the message at least.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think he'll have to continue. You know, this is probably one of the more challenging teams, I think, for Wes Moore, just because he's been so used to consistency from the group that just graduated. So he's going to have to continue to reinforce the message as Camille Hobby, nice footwork down low, continue to reinforce the message, continue to challenge this group to individually be more consistent and collectively be more consistent.
I just got to go back to that move by Camille Hobby. I mean, what a move, her footwork, that outside shot, no good. Hobby brings down the rebound as well, the senior out of Jacksonville, Florida. It was really cool to see her father, Marion, the defensive line coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, in attendance as well, and just continues to pile it on the inside.
And I'd like to see Saniya Rivers do more of that, take the ball to the rim. And she is a very good slasher at the rim. She certainly has the ability to stretch the D as well. But I think she's a really tough cover one-on-one. I mean, she's just bringing it down, fakes the handoff, does a great job of selling it, asking her teammate to come to it, and getting to the rim.
We talked about that ceiling.
Yes.
I mean, my goodness. Her ability to just stay in the air, create her own shot while getting others involved. It was funny talking to Ashley Williams, one of the assistant coaches for NC State. Saniya said, well, she hates that I'm a pass-first guard. She said, no, I just want you to be more aggressive looking for your own shot. She did it there in that last possession. Gets another crack at it. Reverse, no good. That's tipped out of bounds, but it will stay with NC State. Actually, it'll go to Wake Forest, sorry.
Finding that balance is tricky, particularly for a young player. The balance of my team needs me to score, yet I know that I'm a really good facilitator. So, you know, we see pros struggle with that, right? Learning and understanding when that is. I think because of the inconsistency offensively for NC State, they need her to be aggressive to the rim first. I think instinctually she will find her open teammates.
Well, we talked it up. The last 6th Player of the Year for the ACC, with C.J. DeBoyd as well as Diamond Johnson. Saniya Rivers putting up some impressive numbers this season as well. She has the rock in her hand, does like a little in and out. What a beautiful move on the inside. Frees Hobby up, and that's what you want to see from the balance of Saniya Rivers.
And that's the instinct, right? So she was going to the rim. As NC State's on a 7-0 run, she's going to the rim. She could have scored that, right? But her instinct and to facilitate, to find Hobby streaking behind her.
And that last 2 minutes was all Wolfpack. The 6 losses in ACC play. What have you seen? Not just on the span, but also what you're seeing tonight on how they can just bounce back.
Well, I think that you see that this team is capable. I think you see that this team is talented. I think the question mark has been the consistency, not just the consistency in execution, but in effort, in preparation, in all of the details that it takes to be a great team, because they are a good team who are capable of being great.
Kai Harrison couldn't knock that one down. Diamond Johnson comes out of the pack with the ball, also gets the deuce at the other end. Diamond Johnson, you said that she can get hot in a hurry. One of my favorite quotes from Wes Moore is that she's a wildfire coming off the bench. Now she's in the starting lineup. And she, as you said, can get going. So far, she has 6 points. Scruggs sends it to Harrison. Now Alexandra Scruggs puts it on the deck. That's sent to the third row. Jada Boyd with a nice deflection.
Well, Jada Boyd got beat a little bit off of the closeout, but able to recover and use that length to get the block.
Jada Boyd at 6'2", can cover so much. That one brought down.
Saniya Rivers got lucky because her hand was down, and Julie Spear can get hot in a hurry. You've got to make sure you have a hand up contesting every shot.
NC State with another look on this possession. Jada Boyd on the inside. Saw about 3 white jerseys attracted to her as they're working with another short shot clock. Saniya Rivers at the top of the key, guarded by Harrison. Fade away, baseline jumper, back iron.
Well, there's a difference when Saniya Rivers has the ball at the end of the clock and they bring an on-ball screen in the middle, and then Diamond Johnson has it, and they don't.
Elise Williams draws the contact. She'll get 2 free throws on the other side of the break.
I'm your glitchy Wi-Fi, and I've decided, well...
Yeah,
Yes.
them getting the edge 75 to 67.
And Carolina still without Alyssa Usby. Yes, and Coach Jack, again, talk about the job that she's doing at Syracuse, her alma mater.
Yes.
She brings that passion, that love for the program, and elevating it to another level.
And another ranked opponent that went down. We were talking about how you finish off this regular season schedule. Miami. Taking down Florida State.
It's your Seminoles.
When you say it that way, it kind of stings a little deeper. But Miami playing some really good basketball as of late. We were talking about it too. Charlie Cream and his updated bracketology, having them as the last 4 in is Saniya Rivers. Beautiful mid-range jump shot.
Yeah, Katie Meyer doing an outstanding job with this Miami program. Haley Cavender, 33 in that ball game.
Wow.
And a game in which Tanaya Latson for Florida State, 0 free throw attempts. You can typically see that.
But you can typically see Alexandria Scruggs on the inside, finding a way to score over long and length in the inside. Scruggs now at 6 points, 3 for 7 from the field. No team has a player in double figures to this point, so it's a relatively low-scoring ball game that we're looking at, but more so for Wake Forest. Only has 5 points in this quarter.
And Saniya Rivers starting to heat up for NC State, so learning how to find her. But this is, if you watch NC State, yes, they are attacking the paint. They're doing a really good job of getting it inside. But it's often the one-on-one stuff, right? Like a post entry, going to work, one-on-one attacking. There's still not a lot of fluid ball movement offensively.
Behind the back, Jules Spear going at Saniya Rivers. Doesn't like her look, dishes it off at the top of the key. Talking about the assists. A combined 6 assists in this ball game, Steph.
That's crazy. I'm not sure I've seen that, honestly.
So Mimi Collins picks up her first personal foul. Have a substitution for NC State as Jakia Brown-Turner checks out. Isaiah James comes in for the Wolfpack. 20 on the shot clock. 3:03 left here in the third quarter. Wake Forest only scoring 5 points, and NC State went on a large run that led to the first timeout with 13 points in this frame.
Oh, Mister. That's Scruggs on the high-low, and Mister. She was really working her butt off down there trying to get that seal. And man, that's frustrating when you work so hard and you don't get the ball.
It's almost intriguing too when you're a guard on the wing and you can see your post player so open, you miss it, but you still send it like
Right.
something's got to happen.
Right.
9 turnovers for Wake Forest. NC State taking care of the ball so far in this ball game, only 6. Diamond Johnson so strong getting to her spots on the floor. He's had somewhat of a quiet night, 6 points. It's an empty possession there. by Harrison with the Euro just short of the rim.
And again, those are the ones you got to convert. When you get point blank at the rim, when you're trying to get a quality win, beat a ranked opponent, you can't afford those.
Jewel Spear catches her own shot, tried to release it from the floor. That would have definitely made the highlight tape. Doesn't get anything there. But as you mentioned, this is a really important game for Wake Forest as they continue to try and make some noise and finish out their schedule strong. They only have 4 games left after this one. We're approaching the 90-second mark here in the third quarter. Back iron and another rebound for Elise Williams. She now has 9. So a big part of what we're looking at to get into the big dance is that 78 at net. Looking at to get in front of that like 73, but more importantly, who you're winning against. They don't have a bad loss. So finding a good win really helps their resume.
Yeah, no really quality wins, but you're right, no bad losses. But what an opportunity for Wake Forest to improve that resume to get a win over NC State. Certainly a team in Wake that's capable, but you can't afford those missed opportunities. The margin is so slim, and if you're NC State, you got to take care of your business. You got to win the ones that you're supposed to win. Their schedule does not get any easier down the stretch.
Talked about that schedule for NC State as there's a violation there, stepping on the line. So it's given back to NC State, but they go to Virginia, then they have North Carolina, then they go to Virginia Tech, at Duke, and then they finish off the regular season versus Pitt.
And every win is important, just like every possession in a ball game is important. And really for this NC State team, it's finding momentum. Finding momentum. They've been a little disjointed, 5-5 in their last 10, and you really want to hit your stride about this time in the year.
Especially going into tournament play. Building that confidence as Scruggs gets the ball going against Madison Hayes. She's drawing the foul, so she'll get 2 at this charity stripe. They were 0 for their last 4, so this is a big possession for Wake Forest.
Scruggs is really working inside for position. And Wake doing a good job of looking for, but making sure you can deliver that pass on time and on target is so important.
Yeah, had the 10 points against Clemson, 4 for 4. It's been really efficient. All right, well, ACC Unity Week tips off next Saturday. Here's our ACC Network basketball doubleheader fitted on the right side of the bubble. Just behind Clemson atop the ACC standings, they'll take on Virginia Tech at 5 Eastern, then Clemson on the wrong side of the bubble. Even though they lead the conference, they'll square off against Louisville in our second game. So 13 seconds left, Wake Forest. Trying to see if they can get a quality bucket here. Jewel Spear at the top of the key. Doesn't get much more quality than that. Jewel Spear knocking down her first 3-ball of the ball game, and that leaves Diamond Johnson stunned that she was all alone.
You know it's just a matter of time before she finds the bottom of the net, and nobody near her. This is just a walk-up 3. Got to get up there and get a contest. Big bucket for Spear.
She's still trying to find her way and get hot in this ball game, but on the road is where she needs to be challenged the most.
Yeah, and again, I think it's just a matter of time before Jewel Spear does get hot, and that end of quarter 3 could be just what she needs. But going back to your point about lack of communication, I mean, you cannot play this game if you don't communicate, particularly on the defensive end of the floor. It clears so many things up. Rotations, coverages, closeouts, when you're near man, and that's a terrific block by Saniya Rivers, and that's what Westmore likes, that length of Saniya Rivers on Jewel Spear.
Saniya Rivers, 6'1". We talked about her, the sophomore coming out of Wilmington, North Carolina. It's been her first year at South Carolina with Don Staley getting the title last season. Her sister also played at NC State. Alexandria Scruggs tried to find her way to the paint. That was almost denied completely by Isaiah James. Instead, Scruggs stepped up to the free throw line for 2. So Nana Rivers, actually her sister, played at NC State from 2001 to 2004. She played under Kay Yao, so NC State was in her top 4 schools. Being able to go back and kind of live on that legacy is pretty cool for Saniya Rivers.
Wes Moore said that NC State was in the final 2 for Jewel Spear as well.
Oh, look at that.
He was telling the story about Jewel Spear growing up in Colony, Texas, which is about 15 minutes from where he grew up. And he said, but Jewel's mother from East Carolina, and she wanted to be close to family and ended up at Wake. I think he was feeling that a little bit.
I think everyone feels it across the way. Saniya Rivers wanted the foul underneath. Instead, Wake will get the ball back. So just call for a travel there. So the 8th turnover for NC State. Wes Moore, as you mentioned, just one of the best men you can find in the business. Highly decorated as his resume, but I love his sayings even within shoot-around as well. I said, Coach, you look fit. Looks like you've been riding the Peloton. He said, no, Angel, it's stress. I need to stress a little bit too.
Oh, yes, that happens.
That's poked away. Another turnover for Wake Forest. That's their 10th of the ball game. As we're just a few ticks in on the 4th quarter. Alongside Stephanie White. That's saved inbounds by Hobby. Hobby with the 9 points, 4 for 6 from the field. She also has 6 rebounds to add to it. Saniya Rivers, back iron, but that is one of her key spots on the floor.
And I like her in that middle pick and roll. You know, she's getting good quality shots. She's got 8 points here in the second half.
That is the look for Jewel Spear as well, has been struggling from the paint. That's a player that hasn't been struggling. Saniya Rivers, who was in the starting rotation. Coach wanted energy. I think he's found it.
When you see the difference in Saniya Rivers in the first half, playing off the ball on the wing, not quite as effective. Now she's got the ball in her hands in the middle of the floor, and she's much more effective, much more comfortable in that role.
Long pass on the inside. That was blocked from behind. Another look. That one, Nia Becker was able to play a little bit of the cleanup crew. She got fouled. She'll get 2. So Jada Boyd picks up her 3rd personal foul as Becker steps up to the free throw line for 2. All right, well, here's our women's college basketball triple header for Sunday on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Boston College takes on North Carolina at noon Eastern. Then Virginia Tech, they take on Florida State in Blacksburg, and Syracuse squares off against number 10 Notre Dame to cap off the day. We already went down the list of the numbers and the standings for the matchups in the ACC. For tonight, there were 4 games that were ahead of us, and they did not disappoint. Duke won handily over Boston College, but Miami getting the upset win over Florida State, who has been climbing in the rankings. We're on the top 12 as there's another foul. This is going to be an offensive one against Wolfpack. Nene Collins gets marked with the foul. That's her 2nd. I think it's very interesting when you're talking about ACC play, coming in, you listen to the parody, you go down the list, and you have all these expectations of what teams should be. The production, a lot lost, especially when you're looking at Lisa Kinane, who from NC State, Perez as well, but a team that won 3 straight ACC tourney titles.
Well, I mean, this team lost 50% of their points. They lost 50% of their steals. So, and now you're trying to integrate transfers with some players who got minimal playing time. I mean, Diamond Johnson really is and Jada Boyd when she was healthy are really the 2 that got a lot of playing time a year ago. You know, Madison Hayes was stuck kind of buried on the bench, now is getting playing time. Camille Hobby gave a different look, but spared Elisa Cunane minutes. So for the first time in their careers, multiple players getting a large amount of playing time. And it's different trying to be efficient with more time.
I think one of the most interesting quotes from Wes Moore, too, was, yeah, that's the production, but what about the leadership that was lost as well?
100%. Every day he knew what he was going to get. Every day there were players on the floor vocal. And you think about Ty Crutchfield.
Yep.
We didn't even mention her and what she brought from a leadership standpoint, defensive standpoint, setting the tone, raising the expectation level day in and day out.
Diamond Johnson actually wearing that number. Ty Crutchfield had that number last year. Diamond Johnson had number 0. But a player that can get it done on both sides of the floor. Another team has just kind of stunned everyone, too, in their start is Louisville.
Yeah, again, you think about what was lost in terms of production and leadership from that Louisville program.
Hobby tried to spin, held up this time. Great defense by Becker, but not enough to keep him off the board.
Great hustle by Madison Hayes. I mean, that was an out-of-area rebound. She came crashing in from the three-point line.
And we're tied 8-8 in second chance points. Just a slight edge for Wake Forest in the total rebound department, 37 to 36. It was a lot different in the first half, so another adjustment for NC State in the second, just trying to be a little bit more efficient on the glass. So Diamond Johnson checks back into the ball game. Camille Hobby checks out.
And they're going to keep Diamond Johnson off the ball. Saniya Rivers has been very good with the ball in her hands. And we were talking at halftime about how do you get Diamond Johnson some more looks. Play her off the ball, have her coming off some screens.
Nice look for Isaiah James, couldn't connect. Another thing, just talking to Rivers, I said, where do you see yourself in this role? He said, well, a lot of people compare me to Diamond to Shields. With her length and just finding ways to score. I don't know how you feel about that. We'll come back to it. You got to go to break step. Sorry about that right now. NC State up 42-6.
I'm a screen-addicted tween.
Less than 5 minutes to go in this ball game. Nia Becker at the free throw line. Iron rolls around a little bit, finally falls in. Becker now with 6 points off the bench. Bit of a reset for NC State. Diamond Johnson, Jada Boyd, Kia Brown-Turner, Hayes and Rivers on the floor for the Wolfpack. That's pulled up left, rims around.
That's interesting execution because Kia Brown-Turner's been on the bench for a long time. Then you get her coming off to her right hand, going to the rim and having to make a play.
Picked off by Diamond Johnson right on the backside of that defense. Read that the entire time.
You know, NC State's going to slow it down and certainly want to work some clock, but where they've had success in this ball game has been Saniya Rivers in the middle pick and roll. She's been able to get to the rim. She's been able to knock down some shots. She's been able to create open looks. They've gotten offensive rebound opportunities because of rotations.
Jada Boyd guarded by Demira Hines. That one goes up. Lise Williams got a hand on it. That actually comes down to Jakia Brown-Turner. Brown-Turner finds a way to draw the contact. She'll get 2 free throws. She's had somewhat of a slow night. You mentioned the extensive amount of time on the bench, 22 minutes that she's logged. Only 2 points, 1 field goal on the night.
Yeah, and NC State just cannot afford to have Jakia Brown-Turner, Jada Boyd, and Diamond Johnson in single digits. Now, those 3 in particular have got to be consistent double-digit scores, consistent scoring threats.
Absolutely. The only returning starter for the Wolfpack hit 1,000 points November 13th. You can see the remaining opponents, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, coming up for NC State.
Well, and you see the net rating of these opponents. I mean, it certainly doesn't get any easier. This is probably the deepest this league has been. And every single night, you've got to bring it. It's going to be a battle. That's a good switch, not giving Jewel Spear any space.
Kaya Harrison just trying to figure out who she's going to get the ball to. She finds Jewel Spear, working baseline, takes it right, and gets it to go.
Jakia Brown-Turner hugging on the backside. There was no defensive rotation.
So now Jewel Spear in double figures with 11 points. And a rarity because she only has 1 3 on the night. ACC leading scorer and threes made. 1 for 9 from distance. Less than 3 minutes to play. Jakia Brown-Turner sends it cross court to Jada Boyd. Jada Boyd draws the foul there. That one's going to go against Amira Hines. That'll be her fourth. So with her fourth personal, she's going to take a trip to the bench. Nia Becker checks in for her. Nia Becker, though, this point has 2 fouls. She had those early in the first half. Looking at that tournament resume for NC State, and that's what it all comes down to. Just 4 more games for NC State after this one. Looking at how they can get themselves in the conversation. 6-6, 8th in the ACC, with net still at 15 and coming in overall at 3 in the nation.
You know, in Charlie Cream's latest bracketology, they fell out of that top 16. I mean, it has been a turbulent 10 games, 5-5, and as we saw, it does not get any easier. But for this team, it's going to have to be grinding it out, bit by bit, really learning how to be more consistent, learning how to have that sense of urgency that Westmore wants from them for an entire 40-minute ball game.
So the Wolfpack have a 30-second timeout. They step aside. We'll do the same thing. We'll catch you on the other side. NC State with a 10-point lead.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things that make...
Over Wake Forest, 2:22 left in the ball game. A couple of things on both sides. Jewel Spear only has knocked down 1 3, but that's 1 more than the entire team of NC State at this point. That's taken by Saniya Rivers. Tried to see if she can come underneath. Doesn't. Swiping at the ball. It's Samuel. Another turnover. Finds the hands of Diamond Johnson. And that's sent over the rim. Sure, she wants that one back, but it now finds the hands of Jewel Spear. That one's almost taken away by the Wolfpack as well. Off the glass and a nice look on the inside by Becker. Becker now with 8 points.
And if you're awake, you've got to find a way again to extend the game, bringing the pressure, and thinking about fouling. It's a multiple possession game. Nice pass.
Blocked underneath. Samuel couldn't get to it. And that's retrieved. 1 minute to play. As Kaya Harrison is able to draw the foul. That went back and forth for a little bit. A little bit of miscommunication on both ends, just trying to corral the ball in, but more than anything, just finding the bottom of the bucket for both ends.
And these are teaching moments for Megan Jebbia right now. You know, being in these certain types of games, these high-pressure situations, understanding that you need to press, that you need to put some pressure on NC State. You know, whether their philosophy is going to be to foul or not, it's a multiple possession ball game. But Jewel Spear was the only one who had that defensive urgency.
Jada Boyd picked up her 4th personal foul. That's another shot that's knocked down. You asked for that full court pressure. You're seeing it from the Deacs now. And a quick foul at the top of the key by Kai Harrison.
You know, and that's again, you know, this is a fairly experienced team in terms of class, but not a fairly experienced team in terms of being in ball games in these types of ball games, right? So you have a chance to talk about it at the free throw line, dead ball, we're going to come with pressure, but really starting to learn the nuances of the game when we're behind and we get a quick score. Now we've got to know to come with it. And these are all teaching moments and growth areas for this ball club. Well, and Angel, you had mentioned NC State without a three-pointer. You know, they're 6th in the league. They average a little over 6 a ball game. And the last time they've gone an entire ball game without a made three-point field goal, you have to go all the way back to January of 2010. It's a long time.
Do you know I was still in college?
Oh my gosh, you're a baby.
I like to feel that way sometimes. That's a long time. Knocked down by Jada Boyd. Jada Boyd with 9 points. Has gotten the majority of her points from the free throw line, 7 for 8. Jewel Spear has seen better days from outside the arc. She sends it to Samiel. That's blocked. Everyone was looking around to see where it went. No reset of the shot clock. This time, Saniya Rivers brings it down. Trying to steal without really committing the foul. About 4-second difference between the game and shot clock. As a lot of time went off the clock before a foul was actually called.
Yeah, it looked like there were a couple of opportunities in the backcourt where maybe Wake initially thought they had fouled, and then when you're coming with that pressure, you're going to try to get a steal out of the trap or force a 10-second violation. But you're absolutely right. You lose a lot of that clock. You're foul with 18 seconds.
Wake Forest, 23 seconds left, down by 10 at this point. Just a couple of things going over them. Even though they have the worst scoring offense in the ACC, their lowest scoring output this season was 43 points in a loss at Miami, but at home, their lowest scoring output was 50. That's 10 below at this point. And I guess it can really start with Jewel Spear. One of those players you come in, you know that she can probably average and put up a good 20-something points. And NC State doing a great job containing her, and that was a jump that Westmore needed from his team.
Absolutely, you have to make everything difficult. You know, starting the ball game with Saniya Rivers and her length, trying to keep Jewel Spear uncomfortable, but to the point that Megan Jebbia was talking to us about, you know, it can't all be on Jewel Spear to carry our scoring load. We have to have multiple players that are able to give us double-figure scoring. And Elise Williams started off the ball game really well, knocked down a 3, had 5 points in the first half, and was absent in the second half. Olivia Samiel is a player that has experience, that has to hunt shots as well. You know, Demira Hines was in foul trouble most of the ball game, but consistently finding multiple players that can score the basketball is important for this Wake team.
Samiel gets the bucket, so that puts him at 43. 5 seconds left, so Diamond Johnson will just send this one away. So that is stamped as NC State avoids dropping 3 in a row and gets the win against Wake Forest and snaps their win streak at home, ends it at 4, as now they're 11-2 at home.
Well, and if you're Westmore, you got to feel good about getting the win. It wasn't pretty, certainly multiple opportunities to go back and watch